Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a day. Hopefully you're not having a bad one. You're like, oh my god, you are so late. It's true. But I realized I had to switch my sleep schedule sort of back to days. Because I need to be awake and alive during a family event. So, yeah, this week's just gonna be a little fucky. But, you know, for my overnight buds who actually, like, show up late, you ain't gonna notice any goddamn difference. For people who are here right at the earlies, it's gonna be a bit off. But, you know. Why did I do this twice? I don't know. Because I'm well, not sleep deprived, just sleep adjusting. I'm jet lagged. Words. Brain. Stylus. Success. Actually, you know. That.
Lucid days, I'm getting closer to unlock my consciousness. The poison's only building up my tolerance. We were never born to be the obvious, isn't it obvious? Time is slipping, dial spinning. I still wonder if I'm dreaming, or maybe I'm the only one who's wide.
Awake and the only one. Only one.
Up and down on my feet, feel like I'm ascending. I've planned every step, I've seen everything, so it's no surprise I can't sleep. It's just the push that I need. I've gone past the point, I'm all in. I know that you're thinking that you're really gonna do it, but you never really do it like me.
It's been a hot second since I've done any art, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, did I actually stretch my hands today? No, I didn't. They are not stretched. I'd be like, wait a second, you stretch your hands? Yeah. Oh, you? Stretch before exercise? And you're like, this is exercise? Bitch, when did I do it? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hey, Sky. I just realized my chat's covered up. Chat. Oh, no. We're good. You come back home to very close to you. Shall I see you? Now we see you. From the truth. So, fun fact, my least favorite game of all time because of the amount of glazers who won't stop glazing a very bad game. I have to do that on another layer. Another layer. Now, if you liked E33, go nuts. I have fun. But things that are true. They used generative AI when they created it, which doesn't surprise me at all. And the only stuff they confess to, as a note, is the stuff that accidentally made it into the game. But it actually makes me feel better about one of the opinions I had about it, which was that the art style was inconsistent and visually just awful. Like, for something that's supposed to be based on the concept of, like, semi-abstract oil paintings, because that's the style, it just always read as vomit to me. And I say that with not having a better word for it. But when you're doing art, there's a, there's a point. I'm trying to think of, like, how did Bob Ross ever say this? Because people understand Bob Ross terms the best when it comes to art. He talks about mud mixing. So mud mixing is what you do. Fuck off? No, no! Fuck off. Sorry. Windows would really like me to update to Windows 11, even though my processor is not for Windows 11 and will not work with it. Good job, Windows, you're so stupid. Anyways, so Bob Ross talks about mud mixing, but he's mostly talking about when you slap too many goddamn colors on your painting and then you work them until they turn into a nice putrid brown. But you can kind of do that with details, you can kind of do that with perspective. There's a point where if you push things too hard, it's not gonna look good. You can't even claim that it's stylized because you've literally obliterated the ability to enjoy the parts that are being presented. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, okay, so you know how in Risk of Rain, as Nick's just pointed this out to me, in Risk of Rain, when you are, like, fully kitted out, your character looks like a clown sneezed on it with sprinkles on top. Because you got, like, one of everything. Like, you just got a whole bunch of random shit, and it's just, there's so much of it that your character doesn't even look recognizable anymore. There's just so much garbage on your character. That's what I'm talking about. That is the visual style of E33. And not only that, it's also inconsistent. The enemies go from being these odd, dramatic, esoteric things to sort of creatures combined with other creatures, but not really, to abstract concentrations of colors to, and like, that would be something if there was consistency between all those things, but there kinda isn't. So in my mind, I really deeply wanted to accuse it of kinda maybe using AI to do its character designs. And now that I know that they definitely used it for some of their assets, I'm like, yeah, my suspicions about that might have just been confirmed. Yeah, it does. It takes your prompt, and it looks for every other image on the internet, i.e. in its database, because that's what the database is for AI. It's just everything on the internet that's already been tagged that way, and creates a medium between all those ideas. And it can generate the different ways by putting different weights on different words, and that's how they create the variations that it can create. That's the essence of generated AI. Now, do I hate it because it bad? It looks bad. No, but it looking bad is how you find it. So part of me is like, I didn't want to call it out because, I mean, yes, my entire system is a little bit angry about the whole Silksong. This, because we knew it was gonna happen and we got it confirmed. Part of that whole pattern finding thing. I recognize patterns. And if you want to compare Silksong to a movie, it'd be easy to compare Silksong to, say, Star Wars. And you know what Star Wars won at the Academy Awards? Nothing! It won Best Music, I believe, 1 year. But it, generally speaking, blockbusters don't win anything at the Academy Awards. And the reason why is they don't want popular shit to win awards, because then people will expect movies they like. And you might be like, but that makes no sense, because don't they want to make a lot of money? Well, no, the Academy Awards was always about... this is strictly the Academy Awards. Like, I'm not gonna say this is true every game or every award show, but like, I know an Academy member, and we had extensive talks about how this all works. But strictly speaking, the concept behind the Academy Awards and the Academy itself is basically to create an industry standard for what people in the industry believe is good work, which is bullshit. So basically, in order to break into the Academy Awards, even to get nominated in the Academy Awards, not only do you gotta make a great big splash, you gotta make a great big splash that impresses people who really, really, really want to keep their jobs. Because the Academy is literally filled with people who make these things, and if you do something that they never thought of doing, they really don't like that! They don't like it! And they don't want to replicate it in some sundry way. If they don't think, I could do that, they're really, 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 really reluctant to let that win an award, because if it does, then people might want more of that. And that's how the Game Awards seems to function as well. There's industry standards. For instance, a blockbuster game not costing more than $50 is considered to be a little strange. Oh, look at Silksong. It came out for $20, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did, right? Now, the thing is, here's my thing. If Silksong had come out the same week as Expedition 33, you know what would have happened to Expedition 33? No one would have played it. No one would have played it. It would have come out that it was kind of sloppy, it was a little visually annoying, it was basically a snuff film, and, you know, some people would have played it, some people would have, but nobody really would have. And, you know, they would have bitched and moaned, oh my god, you ruined the entire thing. So, do you think that Silksong would have won any awards if it came out the same week as E33? No, it still wouldn't have. It still would have won none except for maybe Best Action Adventure. You know what would have won? Any other game. Any other game. The exact same thing would have happened regardless of what game they picked, because they need to punish Silksong for coming out without years of hype, years of early access, you know, not dropping trailers, not doing interviews, they sold it for $20. All of these factors are things that the Game Academy, if you want to call it that, the awards show. Exactly, they're saying it's hurting the game industry. Exactly, they hate it because it's doing everything that the customers want. But the thing is, they don't want the customers to expect these things. And again, this is something that happens at award shows. They award industry standards. They want the industry to go a certain way because they themselves, i.e. the other developers, the people who vote, don't want to do anything new! Exactly that. It's true, I am drawing conclusions. I'm literally drawing, and I'm drawing conclusions. But, I mean, I wanted so badly to be wrong about that. Like, I was just like, oh no, the Game Awards, there's no way it's gonna win Game of the Year. And I was like, no, I mean, like, and I was just like, no. I'm like, Team Cherry confirmed it, basically. They were like, we're not even gonna go because we already know we're not gonna win. And I was like, wow, that's really pessimistic. And I was like, oh, no. They know exactly what's gonna happen. And yep, they were correct in their assessment. Because the industry doesn't want to award popular shit that doesn't meet industry standards. That's the long and the short of it. That's how Game Awards, or how the Game Awards works, how the Academy Awards works, how the Tonys work. All of these are about not letting people push the envelope too hard. Now, sometimes things sneak through a little bit, you know. There might be, say, an animated feature that gets nominated because it was just that good, or, you know, was popular enough that enough people watched it that it actually got voted on, which is another fucking matter. That's a problem with the Academy Awards. Might not be true of the Game Awards, but the thing is, people tend to vote for what they've played. So, the thing is, E33 just happened to launch at precisely the right time to get a bunch of game devs to play it. And that helps in nominations. There's a sweet spot that people haven't quite researched yet, but I bet you if people actually look into it, they'll figure it out, where game development takes a vague hiatus, and it usually happens, in my opinion, in summer. Game development kind of, like, a lot of people go on vacation, which results in a lot of people who are game developers to play some games, and they tend to play whatever's popular, and that tends to be whatever becomes the Game of the Year. Silksong launched just a little too late to be that game. But regardless, they were mad about the standards not being met, about, you know, people not, about Team Cherry not obeying those rules. So again, what would have happened is, if Silksong had actually launched the same week, E33 wouldn't have won any awards. Straight up. It probably wouldn't even have been nominated for many awards, but it definitely wouldn't have won any. And some other game would have. Any other game, really. Something that came out earlier than that. Anything, really. Like, any other game could have come out and also would have won all of those awards, because they don't reward people who break the rules. And they also don't want to, they also want to be, like, I mean, it's probably getting there. It's not quite there yet, I think, with the Game Awards, but there's a thing about the Academy Awards, and it's entirely infuriating, where if it's popular with the populace, it's not good enough. If it's not artsy enough, it's not good enough. It's ridiculous to say that Silksong has no artsiness to it, because it absolutely fucking does. It does have its own flavor of stylization. In terms of, like, the way the dialogue's delivered, the way the story's delivered, the way things are told, and the way you find things out, and it has its own delivery style for that. But it's also cartoony, and it's got cute, adorable buggies, and it's not human drama scraped off the bottom of a barrel and presented as the true meaning of being sad. That's kind of what they want in terms of, like, art. Art tends to have to involve human characters. It can't involve anything too cartoony, and this is true. And I'm saying this from the point of view of what the Academy Awards goes through. Is, like, even in the categories, this is the fuckiest thing. So, like, the Academy member that I know, she's an animator, and exclusively when the way the Academy works, which I think, to be fair, might actually help the Game Awards slightly, is that you're only allowed to vote on something that you're an expert in. So, if you are an expert sound designer, you're only allowed to vote on the sound categories for the awards. So, because she was an animation director, she's only allowed to vote on animated features. Period. But the funniest thing in the world was, I saw this enormous box in her office, because I went to school. She was one of my profs. And she was sitting there, and this box of DVDs, huge box of DVDs sitting on her floor. And I was like, wow, are those all student submissions? She's like, no, that's the Academy box. And I'm like, what do you mean the Academy box? So she explains this whole process to me. This is how the Academy worked back in the 2000s, but I doubt it's changed too much now, other than people probably just get access to a curated playlist of movies instead of receiving DVDs in the mail. But the idea is that you get this box that has everything released from this year that falls into the category you're allowed to talk about or vote for, and you're somehow, despite being a working human being, supposed to watch thousands and thousands of hours of what is relevant to your thing. And if that sounds like nobody does that, that's because nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that. Well, I mean, think about it this way. This is the reason for the Academy thing, right? Like, so if you want to, it's easiest to talk about music because, like, music to me makes the most sense. Only composers really know what tricks other composers have really used to make really cool shit happen. Like, is it fair to judge Danny Elfman if you're tone deaf? Is it fair to listen to John Williams' music when you don't understand his concept of leitmotif? If you want to listen to it and you're like, yeah, I like this, but you don't know what he did to make you like it, then why are you voting on it, right? That's the whole concept. Oh, I'm fine. So the whole concept behind making sure that the Academy only, like, each Academy member only does things in certain categories also narrows the amount of movies you have to watch. So I would think, in theory, that if you wanted to have people do best game direction, be people who've directed games before in their lives. If you want to do best music, you want to have all the music composers be the ones who are allowed to vote. That's how you start an Academy for something like the Game Awards. Instead of just having people who are like, yeah, no, I like that music. I don't know why I liked it, but I liked it. Voting on stuff. And I swear to God, the only reason, now this is slightly outside my conspiracy that they just were punishing Silksong across the board. They just wanted to vote for anything but Silksong. I think the reason why E33 won the award for best music was because it had the most tracks. It literally has like 133 tracks, which is just fucking unheard of for a game as short as E33. It has so many pieces of music in it. It's rare, I don't think, that you'd even hear all of them in totality during a single playthrough. That's not just overkill, that's suspicious as shit, in my opinion, but yeah, so the whole idea is to, like, if you were gonna create an academy, quote-unquote, for the games awards, or whatever you want to call them in the future, give it a random man's name. Hell no, let's just call them the no, I need to I was gonna say the Karen Awards. We'll call it the Nikki Awards or something like that, right? So we're just gonna give it a random name. We'll make it gender neutral. We want to call the Game Awards that. We want to start an academy for so that things are being judged based on their actual value. It still ends up with this problem where, even though you've now limited the amount of people who are voting, and you've limited to experts in those fields, you end up with this secondary bias where the people who end up in the academy end up not liking anything that challenges their style. And at least when it comes to the Academy Awards, the only way to get into the Academy, and I do mean the only way, is to have somebody else recommend you. Which means that an industry person is picking another industry person for being close enough to being their style of person, and that's how all the bias gets in there, right? So there's massive problems with it, but part of me thinks that the reason why E33 won Best Music was literally because no one had time to listen to the soundtrack. When they wrote 130 fucking songs for this stupid game, clearly, and the ones that I've listened to sound pretty good, clearly this is definitely the best soundtrack, because, I mean, they wrote so many songs for it. So yeah, there's still problems with my suggestion of it would be really cool. Second, I just need to know what layer this is. But like I said, there is some problems with what I suggested, like having experts be involved in only their own topics. But at the same time, I feel like right now the Game Awards is already becoming kind of this joke where they vote along the lines of what they want the industry to be, as opposed to what is actually good. And again, I'm not saying necessarily that Silksong deserves all the awards and all the kudos, because I don't think that. I think they deserve awards in certain categories, and were denied those specifically to punish Team Cherry. But I also believe that E33 didn't deserve the awards that it got, because I'm pretty sure that it was just chosen as the industry choice of, well, you know, no one else got anything out this year that wasn't overshadowed by Silksong, so we're just gonna award whatever was popular before Silksong came out. Which is literally the worst way to pick awards ever. And it's not as though it hasn't happened before with the Academy Awards. You can literally see instances of this all through the Academy's history. It actually happens fairly frequently. Is that some blockbuster will come out, which will receive no awards and no nominations, or they might get, like, maybe best editing or best effects or something like that. But some random blockbuster will come out, and some random, you know, movie will win, like, 5 or 6 awards. And it'll just be whatever artsy film came out before the big-ass blockbuster that ruined everybody's lives. The only time, in fact, that I think this didn't happen was with Titanic. And honestly, the only reason why Titanic won as many awards as it did, despite the fact that it didn't deserve them, in my opinion, because it's actually kind of a boring fucking movie, is literally because James Cameron made the movie Academy bait. That there's such a thing. I mean, I don't think games are gonna start becoming Game of the Year award bait, but I'm pretty sure we're getting close to that point. So Academy bait basically means it has a couple of very bog standard fucking things in it. It's got a romance that's unrequited. Usually people die. It's got known actors in it. There's no newbies. Everybody who's in it is well known. It has a well-known director. Doesn't even matter what the director used to do, so long as they have stepped into the film of artsy. There's at least some sad sequences at some point in time. Like, not just people dying dramatically, but there's gotta be something else in it that's inherently sad. On some level. Either somebody's miserable and they're having a terrible life, or, you know, a bad person gets away with bad things and no one can do anything about it. All of those things, all these things are present in Titanic. That's just Academy bait. That's just, and the thing, what's really funny is there's certain actors, Leonardo DiCaprio being among them, who struggle to win Academy Awards because the Academy will end up with a bias against them, either because they were part of a bait, or they've been in several bait movies that didn't succeed, or the very first time they were on screen, one of the earlier times they were on screen was in a blockbuster. So for instance, it's very hard for anyone who's been in a super popular movie, like The Rock or Vin Diesel, to win an Academy Award. Because they've made blockbusters. And you make a blockbuster, that's it. It's over. Hey, wet paper bag. So if Leo hadn't been in multiple blockbusters, including some really cheesy ones over the years, he wouldn't have been blocked from the Academy for so long. Basically, if you want to become an Academy member, you have to be in enough dramatic artsy films for them to forgive you for ever having been in a blockbuster. And Leo was one of the longest holdouts for them. And I think it's largely because he's just... I don't want to say he's a pretty boy, because I don't actually think he is, but I think the Hollywood opinion is that he's kind of a pretty boy, and therefore he has no substance. He's only being hired to give a film a hot lead sort of thing, as opposed to giving a film... Like, that pretty bias does happen a little bit. I know he's a reprehensible human being, and I don't think that he's hot. I never have. I always thought he kind of looked like a girl, and not in a good way. Like, you know, there's folks in my system who like girls, but none of us really think that Leo's attractive, like, in that way. He just isn't. Just, nah. You have to forgive me occasionally pausing and being like, let's draw this one line for the 13th time, because it just doesn't quite look the way I want it to yet. It's getting there, but not quite. I just realized For anyone who's wondering why I'm tilting my head, I have severe astigmatism, and flipping the canvas is only going to make it look wrong in all the other ways. I have to defeat my astigmatism by taking an average between how wrong it looks in one direction and how wrong it looks in the other direction. Because if I flip it, it's just all wrong anyways. Like, I can flip it. You see how when I flip it, to me, that actually looks better. So I know that it isn't correct yet. It's getting there. It's almost there. I almost got the perspective down. Anyways, I'm ranting and raving about the concept behind bias in awards shows. One of the things I think needs to change, at least for the industry, is in the video games industry, I mean. I think one of the biggest things that needs to change, and it needs to change really